Hello, welcome to my video. I'm going to be talking about how I recreated the track Control by Kevin Garrett on Logic. This is to teach myself production. I've started from scratch, listening to every sound intently and picking out the ones that I think are close. I'm learning to identify the synths, drums, and all sorts of production tricks. The first thing is that I'm not a professional producer. I'm just learning this completely on my own, and I'm using a lot of guesswork, and I don't expect it to be perfect. So I tried to get the sounds as close as I could just by using my ears. Second, mainly using the Logic packs that I have. I also just got this Native Instruments recently, so I'm using a little bit of that as well, but it's not necessary. You can probably find some similar sounds with just the Logic packs themselves. If you don't know who Kevin Garrett is, he's a really talented singer and songwriter who sings kind of an R&B style, and he's probably most famous for his co-write credit on the song Pray You Catch Me by Beyonce. And that song, you can kind of hear his signature piano style. So I'm gonna just show you how I recreated this track. First, play a little bit of it. Everything's alone, it's just the way I left. I can't even trace where this other life began. Okay, so those bass lines kind of sounded like 808s to me, so here I've got some 808s. Kind of isolate them for you. I just kind of everything's alone, it's just the way I left. Alright, that's the 808s. Let's see what this is. Okay, so that's that drum. You can probably hear here. I can't even trace where this other light. It's a little knocking sound. And then this other, it's a little bit of an echo in this high, kind of like a knock. I guess it would be the snare hit, but it doesn't sound like a snare, so what? So my sound's not exactly the same. It's actually, the real one sounds a little bit lower, but I had to try to figure it out as best I can. So I use Orion, which is this, and I use the rim sound. But I sort of modified that rim sound here. I put some echo on it, put a little bit of a gain on it, and Space Designer, I put it in, there's a lot of reverb on it, so it has that long echo sound. I'm just kind of experimenting with it, so I used Grand Hall 1. It sounds good enough for me, so it's not exactly perfect, but I was just trying to get something that sounded kind of similar. And that's kind of the essence of what I try to do when I'm trying to simulate sounds, is kind of ask first, what does it sound like? It sounds like some sort of knock or rim hit. And then after that, you just kind of modify that sound until you get the sound you want, or close to it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, in my opinion. You're just trying to get something that's kind of evoking the same kind of sound. So let's see what some of that rim hit sounds like with the filtering I use, because I think I just kind of experimented with low tone, high cut filter, low cut filter, and reverb until I got a sound that I kind of was satisfied with. So So obviously you can see the, in fact this might be kind of closer to the sound. The less you use high cut filter, the more silent it gets, and it starts to kind of get, you can hear that get a little bit more and more trebly. It's kind of likewise the same with the low cut, but it's the opposite. So listen to it. I use telephone vocal for that vocal line. I'm obviously not as good of a singer as Kevin Garrett, but everything's alone, it's just the way I left. I can't even trace where this other life began. Driving down the same old street, sometimes I forget to breathe, and you won't ever hear me sing this one again. So my voice isn't as great, so I do a lot of pitch correcting. And that's using flex pitch. You click that button and go to flex pitch. And then I also adjusted timing, so I would hit each word on the timing of it, because it's kind of hard to sing exactly in time. I'm practicing, trying to get better, but I don't often sing on time because my timing isn't great either. So I do a lot of flex, automatic flex time first, where I move the lines like this, just to kind of get the vocal lines to match up, and then I end with flex pitch. And sometimes you have to scroll down to find that pitch. Yeah, you have to scroll to C3 to find that pitch, because that's middle C. So you just kind of move that up and down. It's way better than auto-tune, because auto-tune you can hear the effect, but with flex pitch you can't really hear many digital artifacts from it. Everything's alone, it's just the way I left. I can't even trace where this other life began. Driving down the same old street, sometimes I forget to breathe, and you won't ever hear me sing this one again. Far back in my memory, I hear your words. Okay, so at this point in the song, you'll start to hear a sound come in. Sometimes I forget to breathe, but you won't ever hear me sing this one again. Far back in my memory, I hear your words. Okay, so I really don't know what sound that is, but the exercise I do is like, what does it remind me of? What kind of sounds is it evoking? And to me it just sounds kind of like a pan flute with some digital synthy stuff on top of it. So that's basically just what I use. I use a metal pan flute here, and I might have modified it a bit. you know, with these dials to try to get the effect that I wanted.
Sing this one again. Far back in my memory, I hear your words. Somehow someone's poisoned me, and now they're cursed. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, I would never let you go. The only way it'd work is if I were provoked.
So just kind of estimating the notes that are used, and that's just careful listening.
Poison me, and now they're cursed. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, I would never let you go. The only way it'd work is if I were provoked. Ooh, you had control.
So to me that sounds very an electric piano or a Wurlitzer. So I think that's what I ended up using right here. So right here, there's a cool little guitar line, probably the only guitar in the song. Right about here.
As hard as you can try, this heart of mine won't break.
It's just a guitar that's muted with the palm of your hand. So that sounds like this. And the sound's probably not perfect, the amp sound, but I think it works, so.
As hard as you can try, this heart of mine won't break.
Alright, so piano is a pretty difficult sound to get to sound good on a VST, but I did use this one called Una Corda Pura, which is from Contact. Sounds like that. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so you can see I'm slightly modifying the velocity of each hit, and it's good to have some randomness there because that does simulate how people would play for real. They're not going to be hitting the same intensity with every note. So take a look at the settings here. Just tweaking the settings to however you want to have some reverb, ambience, compression. Okay, video's getting long, so I'm going to split this into a second video, part 2, so please check out part 2.